Hello friends, and welcome to Adventures in Pixieland. My name's Amy, I'm an ordained minister, and we are in Bible study. We are in the Nymph, and we are in the book of 2 Kings, and we are in chapter 11. Oh goodness, it's one of those long names. Athaliah and Joash. When Athaliah, the mother of Ahaziah, I think that's how you say that, Ahaziah, saw that her son was dead, she proceeded to destroy the whole royal family. But Josheba, Jehosheba, the daughter of King Jehoram and sister of Ahaziah, took Joash, son of Ahaziah, and stole him away from among the royal princes who were about to be murdered. She put him and his nurse in a bedroom to hide from Athaliah, so he was not killed. He remained hidden with his nurse at the temple of the Lord for 6 years while Athaliah ruled the land. So, hidden in plain sight. But meanwhile, in the temple, so away from the terrible influences of the looks like grandmother. Yeah, the grandmother wants to kill her grandsons. It's so weird. In the seventh year, Jehoiada sent for the commanders of units of 100, the Karatites, and the guards had them brought to him at the temple of the Lord. He made a covenant with them and put them under oath at the temple of the Lord. Then he showed them the king's son. He commanded them, saying, "This is what you are to do. You who are in the three companies that are going on duty on the Sabbath. A third of you guarding the royal palace, a third at Sur Gate, and a third at the gate behind the guard, who take turns guarding the temple. And you who are in the other two companies that normally go off Sabbath duty are all to guard the temple for the king. Station yourselves around the king, each man with his weapon in his hand. Anyone who approaches your ranks," get a footnote of B, approaches the precincts, must be put to death. Stay close to the king wherever he goes." So setting up a nice guard, and those are like temple gate openings, like entrances into the temple courtyard and stuff, that he's stationing them around to make sure there's a good perimeter of protection. And then he's got an inner ring going on. The commanders of the units of 100 did just as Jehoiada the priest ordered. Each one took his men, those who were going on duty on the Sabbath and those who were going off duty, and came to Jehoiada the priest. Then he gave the commanders the spears and shields that had belonged to King David that were in the temple of the Lord. The guard, each with his weapon in his hand, stations themselves around the king near the altar and the temple. So from the south side to the north side of the temple. So, along one side. Jehoiada brought out the king's son and put the crown on him. He presented him with a copy of the covenant and proclaimed him king. They anointed him, and the people clapped their hands and shouted, "Long live the king." Okay, so pronouncing him the king. When Athaliah heard the noise made by the guards and the people, she went to the people at the temple of the Lord. She looked, and there was the king standing by the pillar, as the custom was. The officers and trumpeters were beside the king, and all the people of the land were rejoicing and blowing trumpets. Then Athaliah tore her robes and called out, "Treason! Treason! Treason? Lady, you're the one who's treasonous." Jehoiada the priest ordered the commanders of the units of 100 who were in charge of the troops, "Bring her out between the ranks." I got a footnote to C. or out from the precinct, okay, and put to the sword anyone who follows her. For the priest had said, she must not be put to death in the temple of the Lord. So they seized her as she reached the place where the horses enter the palace grounds, and there she was put to death. Jehoiada then made a covenant between the Lord and the king and the people that they would be the Lord's people. He also made a covenant between the king and the people. All the people of the land went to the temple of Baal and tore it down. They smashed the altars and idols to pieces and killed Mattan, M-A-T-T-A-N, Mattan, the priest of Baal, in front of the altars. Then Jehoiada the priest posted guards at the temple of the Lord. He took with him the commanders of hundreds, the Carites, C-A-R-I-T-E-S, the guards, and all the people of the land, and together they brought the king down from the temple of the Lord and went into the palace, entering by the way of the gate of the guards. The king then took his place on the royal throne, and all the people of the land rejoiced, and the city was quieted, because Athaliah had been slain with the sword at the palace. Joash was 7 years old when he began to reign. Joash, with the footnote of D. Jehoash, Jehoash, is another variation of Joash. And if you want to find out what Joash, the 7-year-old boy king, does next, you're going to have to come back for the next video, friends. Hello, friends, and welcome to Adventures in Pixieland. My name's Amy. I'm an ordained minister, and we are in Bible study. We are in the Niv. We're in the book of 2 Kings, and we are in chapter 12. Joash repairs the temple. In the 7th year of Jehu, Joash became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 40 years. His mother's name was, I'm going to say that's Zibiah? Okay. Zibiah, or Zibiah, Z-I-B-I-A-H. She was from Beersheba. Joash did what was right in the eyes of the Lord all the years Jehoiada, I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that right. Jehoiada, yeah, so Jehoiada the priest instructed him. The high places, however, were not removed. The people continued to offer sacrifices and burn incense there. That's not good. Joash said to the priests, collect all the money that is brought as sacred offerings to the temple of the Lord. The money collected in the census, the money received from the personal vows, and the money brought voluntarily to the temple. Let every priest receive the money from one of the treasurers, and let it be used to repair whatever damage is found in the temple. But by the 23rd year of King Joash, the priest still had not repaired the temple. So they are not doing as ordered. That's not good. He's a grown person, now. Therefore, King Joash summons Jehoiada, the priest, and the other priests, and asked them, why aren't you repairing the damage done to the temple? Take no more money from your treasurers, but hand it over for repairing the temple. The priests agreed that they would not collect any more money from the people, and they would not repair the temple themselves. Jehoiada the priest took a chest and bored a hole in its lid. He placed it besides the altar on the right side as one enters the temple of the Lord. The priests who guard the entrance put in the chest all the money that was brought to the temple of the Lord. Whenever they saw that there was a large amount of money in the chest, a royal secretary and a high priest came and counted the money that had been brought into the temple of the Lord and put into the bags. So they have oversight now to make sure that they're not being wasteful. When the amount had been determined, they gave the money to the men appointed to supervise the work on the temple. With it, they paid those who worked on the temple of the Lord, the carpenters and builders, the masons and stonecutters. They purchased timber and dressed stone for the repair of the temple, and met all the other expenses of restoring the temple. The money brought into the temple was not spent for making silver basins, wick trimmers, sprinkling bowls, trumpets, or any other articles of gold or silver for the temple of the Lord. It was paid to the workmen who used it to repair the temple. They did not require an accounting from those to whom they gave the money to pay the workers, because they acted with complete honesty. The money from the guilt offerings and sin offerings was not brought into the temple of the Lord. It belonged to the priests. About this time, Hazael, Hazael, pretty sure I'm still saying that right, king of Aram, went up and attacked Gath and captured it. Then he turned to attack Jerusalem, but Joash, king of Judah, took all the sacred objects dedicated by his fathers, Jehoshaphat, Jehoram, and Ahaziah, the kings of Judah, and the gifts he himself had dedicated, and all the gold found in the treasury of the temple of the Lord and of the royal palace, and sent them to Hazael, king of Aram, who then withdrew from Jerusalem. And there's proof of that outside of anything in the Bible. You can find proof of that in historical records for the kingdom of Aram, which did go about conquering all kinds of places during their time. There was one particularly big, important king who also built out his kingdom with like fortified walls. I mean, he did, for his kingdom, he did a lot of stuff, but it's, I don't know if it's the same name, but it's a culturally accepted behavior, roaming around and conquering. But amongst all of these at this time frame, I mean, it's the BC era. It's not like, on the continent of England, the Celts weren't, fighting with each other constantly over land on the English continent. As for the other events of the reign of Joash and all he did, are they not written in the books of the annals of the kings of Judah? His officials conspired against him and assassinated him at Beth Millo. Oh no. On the road down to Silla, Silla. The officials who murdered him were Jozabad, Jozabad, son of Shimeath, Shimeath, and Jehozabad, son of Shomer, Jehozabad, and then Shomer, Shomer. He died and was buried with his fathers in the city of David, and I'm going to say Amaziah. I'm going to check that. His son succeeded him as king. Hang on a second. Amaziah. And Amaziah, his son, succeeded him as king. If you want to find out what is going on next in this crazy kingdom, which we jumped to the kingdom of Israel in the next video, you're going to have to come back for the next video, friends. Hello, friends! So, Bible study, the Niv, Acts, chapter 8. We're going to do verses 1 through 13. It will cover a multiple of multiple of the parables. So I'm just going to tell you the names of all of them so that I don't stop and tell you the names of all of them. The church persecuted and scattered, Philip in Samaria, Simon the sorcerer. Those are the parables that we're covering here. Okay, so on that day, a great persecution broke out against the church at Jerusalem, and all except the apostles were scattered throughout Judea and Samaria. Godly men, and Saul was there giving approval to his death. Sorry, that's actually verse 1 of chapter 8. And Saul was there giving approval to his death. And then the church persecuted and scattered. And on that day, a great persecution broke out against the church at Jerusalem, and all except the apostles were scattered throughout Judea and Samaria. Godly men buried Stephen and mourned him deeply. But Saul began to destroy the church, going from house to house, dragging off men and women and put them in prison. So for clarifications, this is immediately following the death of Stephen. The first stoning of the first one of Christ's disciples since the persecution and death of Christ on the cross. And now it's game on, because they've crossed a line now. There was saltiness and jealousy that cost Stephen his life. Now, he gave his life for the Lord, but it also now triggered a course of events. A very particular course of events. Win at all cost attitude always has a cost for the person who says win at all cost. There has to be a cost. There has to be an internal, set of things. There has to be a barrier within yourself in which you don't lose your humanity. These people wanted to be right so much, they bring him up in front of the Sanhedrin, knowing full well it's likely going to cause his death. And not only did it do that, it triggered this guy named Saul to go around and start arresting everybody. Now you got to scatter and hide, because to be a Christian is a death sentence. That's what saltiness and bitterness and aggression and win at all cost brings you. Philip in Samaria, verse 4. Those who had been scattered preached the word wherever they went. Philip went down to a city in Samaria and proclaimed the Christ there. When the crowds heard Philip and saw the miraculous signs he did, they all paid close attention to what he said. With shrieks, evil spirits came out of many, and many paralytics and cripples were healed. So there was a great joy in that city. So Samaria next to Judea, not in Judea, so still hiding because they don't have any jurisdiction there and they just can't come in and arrest people. It's a whole other king and stuff. They don't have any say there. And then Philip, he knows how to put on a show. Philip was a disciple of John the Baptist before he was a disciple of Jesus. He became a disciple of Jesus because John the Baptist was like, no, I came here to proclaim. I have proclaimed. There he is. What are you still doing standing here? I said, go over there. I follow him, so now you follow him. And that's what he told his followers to do. And John the Baptist had many followers. Philip was just like one of his biggest fans. Okay. Verse 9, Simon the sorcerer. Now for some time a man named Simon had practiced sorcery in a city and amazed all the people of Samaria. He boasted that he was somewhat great, and all the people, both high and low, gave him their attention and exclaimed, "This man is the divine power known as the great power." They followed him because he had amazed them for a long time with his magic. So these are people inclined to believe, okay? But when they believed Philip as he preached the good news of the kingdom of God in the name of Jesus Christ, they were baptized, both men and women. Simon himself believed and was baptized, and he followed Philip everywhere, astonished by the great signs and miracles he saw. So that's pretty good on Simon, isn't it? See, the thing is, when we're going about in the world and we're hearing anything, all the inputs that are coming in all around. In fact, I recently had some company training that was on AI chatbots that had this kind of subject in mind. Privacy and security and, secrets, and the difference between all these things have been very present in the messages as of late, and how our actions and our words reverberate with everybody around us. So needing to be careful, needing to be wise, right? Use good discernment and have solid judgment. Good discernment and solid judgment will not lead you down a path where you deliberately harm another. It doesn't mean no one will ever get hurt. It means it's not your intention to hurt. And when it's not someone's intention to hurt, then there's no problem, apologizing or anything else. It's no problem adjusting like Simon did. He knows how he did the things he did. Likely he was using some form of alchemy. He's figured out how to mix some sort of chemicals together. Likely a pretty decent healer. You have to think of the things that they would have, he was basically their wise man. So the things that they would have been brought to him, he just put on a really big show and wanted to have a lot of ego. But when he encountered Philip and the name of Jesus, he was like, what is this? I can't do this. How'd you do that? I'm used to having all the answers, but I don't have answers for that. How'd you do that? Tell me how you did that. When you're a person who really has goodness in heart and you are open to all of the things, if you think you know everything, then you think you're full of yourself until you find somebody who knows more than you. And if your response is like, hey, wait a minute, teach me, then you're on the right path. Then you're on the right path. Because there's a difference between being proud of yourself and having ego. Ego is an inherent part of ourselves. It's intermixed with our self-worth. It's sort of like our barrier on our self-worth. It protects our sense of self. And that's good. Because you're not supposed to be changing who you are for whatever inputs happen around you. You're not supposed to be a different person for whatever room you're in. Yes, you can adjust the kinds of words you would use if you're in a personal environment versus a work environment, because there's more rules over here than there are over here. But the base rules in either place is supposed to be the same, because the base rules are supposed to be anchored in you so that you are always in alignment with Him, pouring love into the world. So, if you find somebody in your life who seems to know more about something than you do, ask them questions. Likely they're waiting for you to anyway. If the people don't ask questions, then they're not ready for whatever the answers are. And that's just how that works. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Mainly because the student goes seeking, and the teacher can recognize the student when they see one. If they can't, they're not even a teacher. And then that's probably not the good one to get advice from. Cross-check what you're told. That was the lesson in the AI thing from earlier when we were talking. Cross-check what you're told. If the facts are there, you can find them. If there's wisdom in the person, it's obvious. Because when presented with new facts, they adjust. If they refuse to adjust and they refuse to correct and they won't be teachable, then they're not in alignment with the Lord. You know that just from the stubbornness they're displaying to you. Because win at all cost isn't in alignment. It's not in the love vibration. Needing to be right every moment is ego. It's not in the love vibration.
That's how you can tell the difference. You tell how they react when they're incorrect. If they do the honorable thing, then they're likely in alignment with the Lord. But back check. Watch what they're telling you. See how you feel around them. Look at how they treat others. Because no matter how good they're treating you, if they're treating others poorly, then they're not a good person. They're not in alignment. That's not the love vibration. He told us to go forth and love each other. He didn't make any exceptions. He didn't tell you there were any people that it was okay to be crappy to. He said each other. He means everybody. Human beings, animal beings, bird beings, and animal beings for me really covering all of the creatures, whether they crawl or they fly or they walk, I don't care. Doesn't matter. All of them, even the insects and the plant beings, love each other. Anything outside of the love vibration is not in alignment with him. It's only going to bring you trouble. That's how the system is set up. Whether you like it or not, that's how the system's set up. That's why we have to be teachable. So let's go about this world and remember that we're supposed to be adjusting for the inputs that are around us so that we learn our lessons. And by changing the way we react to the inputs around us is how we show him that we've learned our lessons and that we're going to be better people. Because we have to actively be trying to be better people to learn any lessons.
Hello, friends! Welcome to Adventures in Pixieland. My name's Amy. I'm an ordained minister, and we are in Bible study. We are in the Niv. We are in Psalms Book 5, and we are in Psalm 140. For the director of music, a Psalm of David. Rescue me, O Lord, from evil men. Protect me from men of violence, who devise evil plans in their hearts and stir up war every day. Make their tongues as sharp as serpents. The poison of vipers is on their lips. Selah. Keep me, O Lord, from the hands of the wicked. Protect me from men of violence, who plan to trip my feet. Proud men have a hidden snare for me. They spread out their cords, the cords of their net, and have set traps for me along my path. Selah. O Lord, I say to you, you are my God. Hear, O Lord, my cry for mercy. O sovereign Lord, my strong deliverer, who shields my head in the day of battle. Do not grant the wicked their desires, O Lord. Do not let their plans succeed, or they will become proud. Selah. Let the heads of those who surround me be covered with the trouble their lips have caused. Let burning coals fall upon them. May they be thrown into the fire. Wow. Into miry pits, never to rise. Let slanderers not be established in the land. May disaster hunt down men of violence. I know that the Lord secures justice for the poor and upholds the cause of the needy. Surely the righteousness will praise your name, and the upright will live before you. So very strongly wanting some strong things to happen to his adversaries there. King David was just, he got a little in his feels. He might have had a temper.